Okay, try and picture this. It's May 22nd, 2025. You're in Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh, and the sheer number of people,
Mm.
it's almost unbelievable.
Hmm.
You're surrounded by hundreds of thousands of devotees, all heading towards the Tirumala Venkateswara Temple.
That incredible energy, you can almost feel it just thinking about it.
Exactly. But along with that spiritual energy, there's the reality of the wait. We've all had the stories, right?
Yeah.
Waiting 20, maybe even 30 hours for Darshan.
It's legendary, really. A testament to devotion, but also, let's be honest, a huge logistical challenge.
And that's where things get, well, futuristic.
Hmm.
Because the TTD, the body that runs the temple, they've just announced something pretty major.
They have indeed. They're bringing in artificial intelligence, AI, and facial recognition technology right into the heart of the pilgrimage.
AI at Tirumala. It's quite a combination.
Mm.
Ancient faith meets cutting-edge tech.
It really is, and that's what we want to unpack today. Based on this announcement from the TTD, what does this actually mean for the millions of pilgrims? How is this technology going to change that experience?
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is to look at the TTD's announcement today, May 22nd, and figure out how this AI is supposed to make things smoother, tackle those huge queues, and generally manage the immense flow of people.
Because the current situation, it has its difficulties. Those queues we mentioned are obviously the big one. 20, 30 hours is a huge amount of time.
It really is. And think about just managing millions of visitors every year. Accommodation, food, movement. It's an incredibly complex operation.
And then you have issues like people trying to book multiple darshans, trying to game the system, plus the general security concerns that come with any massive gathering.
Yeah, anyone who's organized even a small event knows managing crowds is tough. This is on another level entirely.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the AI solution. The first big piece seems to be facial recognition for the darshan itself.
Okay, so how's that supposed to work?
Well, the idea is you get a time-slotted token for your darshan, but it's linked to your facial data. So essentially, your face becomes your pass.
Like a digital VIP pass, almost.
Sort of, yeah. You approach the entry point at your allotted time, the system recognizes you, and you proceed. It streamlines that whole entry process.
And they mentioned a database, something about storing images.
Yes, they're talking about potentially holding up to 10 lakh, that's a million images from the last 30 days or so.
Wow, 1 million images. Why so many?
The main reason stated is to prevent duplicate bookings, to stop someone from getting darshan and then immediately trying to get another slot, perhaps under a slightly different name or something.
Okay. So the system cross-references your face
Ah.
against recent visitors.
Yeah.
Like trying to spot someone who just came through wearing a fake mustache, but with AI.
Huh. Maybe not fake mustaches, but yes,
Yeah.
that's the basic principle. It's about ensuring fairness, making sure more people get a chance without individuals taking multiple slots unfairly. It could also potentially help deter queue cutters.
That makes sense. But the AI isn't just for checking faces at the entrance, right? It's about managing the crowds, too.
Exactly. They plan to use cameras placed along the main darshan paths. These cameras won't just be for security, they'll feed data into the AI system.
Data about what? Crowd density.
Crowd density, movement speed, identifying bottlenecks, all that kind of information. And the key output from that is estimating wait times more accurately.
Okay, real-time wait estimates. That would be huge. How do you get that info?
The plan is to send updates via SMS or through a dedicated mobile app. You'd get a notification telling you roughly how long the wait is from your current point, or maybe when your specific time slot is approaching.
Right. The TTD announcement even had that slightly amusing line about maybe having time to grab a coffee and relax once you get your notification.
Yeah, maybe not literally coffee for everyone there, but the point is clear. Less time spent physically standing and waiting, more predictability. You could potentially rest, manage your family, knowing when you need to be where.
And the goal for wait times is ambitious, isn't it? Bringing it down from 20, 30 hours.
Very ambitious. They're aiming to reduce it significantly, maybe down to just 2 or 3 hours in many cases. That would be absolutely transformative for the pilgrimage experience.
Especially for, older people or families with young kids. Those long waits are incredibly tough.
Definitely. And the AI's role goes beyond just tracking. It's also about prediction, using past data and current feeds to forecast peak times.
So it can help manage the queues proactively.
That's the idea, maybe dynamically changing queue configurations or even guiding pilgrims to less crowded entry points via the app, like a personalized navigation system for the temple complex.
So if we ask why do this, the number one reason is clearly tackling those massive wait times, making it more manageable for millions.
That seems to be the primary driver, yes. A more humane experience, but security is definitely a close second.
How so?
Well, facial recognition in a crowd this size allows for much quicker identification of anyone flagged as a potential security risk, or even just someone trying to cause trouble or bend the rules significantly. It adds a layer of vigilance.
And they also mentioned streamlining other things, like accommodation.
Yes, the potential is there to link this system to booking accommodations, accessing specific areas or services, reducing paperwork, cutting down on other queues beyond the main Darshan line, a more integrated digital experience overall.
Now, this didn't come out of the blue entirely. There was talk earlier this year, wasn't there, about collaborating with a major tech company.
That's right. Back in March 2025, the TTD announced they were in talks with Google Inc. about bringing AI-driven solutions to Tirumala.
Google, that's obviously a huge name. It signals how serious they are about this tech shift.
Absolutely. If this goes ahead fully, Tirumala could genuinely be the first Hindu temple trust globally to deploy AI on such a comprehensive scale. It's potentially setting a major precedent.
What was the focus of the Google talks specifically?
Pretty much what we've been discussing.
Yeah.
Using AI analytics to better predict crowd surges, manage resources more efficiently, staff, supplies, everything, and ultimately create that smoother, more predictable experience for every single pilgrim.
And it wasn't just AI they've been looking at recently. There was something else just before this announcement.
Yes, shortly before the AI news, the TTD board also approved adopting anti-drone technology.
Anti-drone tech, too. So it really paints a picture of Tirumala becoming this blend of ancient faith and modern security, like a fortress of faith and tech.
That's a good way to put it. It shows a multifaceted approach to managing the site in the 21st century, addressing various potential vulnerabilities, aerial ones included.
And all of this seems to fit into a bigger picture, this Tirumala Vision 2047 that the executive officer, J. Syamala Rao, has been talking about.
Precisely. Vision 2047 isn't just about tech. It aligns with the state's broader Swarna Andhra Vision 2047. It includes things like preserving the temple's heritage, focusing on environmental sustainability in the hills, better urban planning. Technology is a key enabler, but it's part of a wider strategy.
It's also interesting that they've already dipped their toes in this water, technically speaking.
How do you mean?
Well, back in 2023, they apparently started using facial recognition for their own employees' attendance.
Ah, right. That makes sense. So they likely learned quite a bit from that internal rollout, a sort of pilot project before applying it to the much larger, more complex pilgrim management system. It probably gave them valuable practical experience.
Okay, but let's address the elephant in the room. Facial recognition. It always brings up privacy concerns.
Yeah.
People might worry, where's my facial data going? Who sees it?
And those are completely valid concerns. The TTD did address this in their announcement. They've given assurances that the data, those million or so images, will be used only for preventing fraud, like duplicate bookings, and for operational things like queue management.
Only for that.
That's the assurance given. But, transparency is going to be absolutely crucial here. They need to be very clear about data storage, security protocols, access controls. Building and maintaining pilgrim trust on this front is non-negotiable for this to work smoothly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not just privacy. Implementing this kind of tech in such a high-traffic, dynamic environment, it must be incredibly challenging.
Oh, hugely challenging. That's likely why they mention it being in a proof of concept or a PACE phase initially.
Meaning they're still testing it out.
Yes. Testing, refining, making sure the algorithms work accurately in real-world conditions with millions of faces, different lighting, people moving. It needs to be robust before a full-scale rollout. You can't afford glitches in a system this critical.
Yeah, definitely. The TTD has faced scrutiny before, like the laddu issue back in 2024. So getting this right is important for maintaining confidence.
Exactly. While the faith of the devotees is incredibly strong and enduring, past issues highlight the need for constant vigilance in upholding the integrity of everything associated with the temple. This tech push seems aimed at improving things, but the execution has to be flawless or as near as possible.
So let's bring it back to the listener. If you're planning a pilgrimage, what's the bottom line? What does this actually mean for you?
Well, the biggest potential benefit is, without doubt, those shorter wait times. Going from potentially 20-plus hours to maybe just 2 or 3, that fundamentally changes the physical experience of the pilgrimage.
Less time standing, more time for, well, the spiritual purpose of the visit.
Precisely. And the communication aspect, getting those SMS updates or app notifications, that reduces the anxiety, the uncertainty. Knowing what to expect makes a big difference.
I can imagine for families especially, trying to manage kids or elderly parents in those massive, slow-moving queues. It must be incredibly stressful.
Oh, absolutely. A more organized system with predictable timings could be a massive relief for families. It makes the whole undertaking feel much more manageable and less daunting.
And this isn't happening in a vacuum, is it? Other religious sites are also looking at tech.
That's right. We're seeing a global trend. Maybe not always AI and facial recognition on this scale, but certainly things like VR tours, mobile apps for booking services, information portals. Religious sites are exploring how technology can help manage large numbers and sometimes enhance the experience.
But Tirumala's scale is unique.
It really is. The sheer volume of people is extraordinary. If they successfully implement this, Tirumala could become a real pioneer, maybe even a blueprint for other major pilgrimage centers globally facing similar crowd management challenges.
So it's early days for this AI system, but the potential is huge.
Definitely early days. They mentioned the Papasi phase, but the vision seems to be to eventually extend it, perhaps integrating it with accommodation systems, SIVA bookings, other TTD services down the line.
And they do seem to want feedback. They mentioned the Dial Your EO program.
Yes, that's an existing program where pilgrims can call in and speak directly or leave feedback for the executive officer, J.C. Amala Rao. It's a direct channel.
Do we have a number for that?
We do. The number provided is 0877-2263-261. So if you visit and have experiences or suggestions related to this new system as it rolls out, that's a way to share them directly.
Okay, 0877-226-3261. Good to know they have that direct line open.
It's a positive sign showing they want to hear from the people actually experiencing these changes.
So wrapping this up, the key takeaway is pretty clear. Tirumala, this incredibly important spiritual center steeped in tradition, is making a bold move into the future with AI and facial recognition.
The stated goal is very much focused on the pilgrims, making the journey smoother, safer, and significantly less time-consuming by tackling those legendary queues and improving overall organization.
It's a fascinating blend, deep faith meeting advanced technology. And the aim, they stress, is enhancing the experience without losing the sanctity of the place.
That balance will be key. Using tech as a tool to facilitate the spiritual journey, not overshadow it.
Which leaves us, and you, with a final thought to ponder. As technology like AI becomes more integrated into places like Tirumala, how might it change the personal, maybe even the spiritual side of pilgrimage? Not just there, but potentially at other sacred sites worldwide in the future.
Yeah, what's that right balance between preserving age-old traditions and embracing innovations that promise efficiency and convenience? It's something we'll likely see debated and explored much more in the coming years.